Yo guys, what's going on and welcome back to a brand new video on HMSGP News, and today we're going to be discussing the 2019 lineup for the British Superbike season. Obviously the Superbike season is just under 1 month away. It's Easter weekend at Silverstone is the opening round of the season, so it's a good time to eventually finally get around to taking a look at who's riding what for the 2019 British Superbike season. So sit back, relax and enjoy the video. So we'll start off with the Quattroplant Bournemouth Kawasaki, the reigning British Superbike champions, obviously with Leon Haslam last year. They have signed Glenn Irwin over from the BYD Ducati team, and they're also running the Supersport runner-up in 2018. Ben Curry, who obviously makes a step up from the 600s to the 1000s there. Obviously, Ben will be aiming for consistent points, whilst Glenn Irwin on paper is a championship challenger, and he has been going very, very quick in testing as well on board that ZX-10R. So hopefully the Irishman and the Australian will be able to make progress on their bikes and get to grips with the Kawasaki in British Superbikes in 2019. At the PBM Racing BYD Ducati team, we have Scott Redding and Josh Brooks. Redding obviously coming from MotoGP on the Aprilia, who is now absolutely loving life on board that brand new Ducati V4R, which yes, does have the wings. Whilst Josh Brooks is making his first Ducati debut after coming off the Yamaha in 2018. A very good season for Josh Brooks on the Yamaha, but now he's taking on the new adventure on the Ducati, and the last time he was actually on a brand new bike was 2015 with the Yamaha, and he won the championship. So will history repeat itself, but this time on the Ducati? Double race winner last year, Bradley Ray, stays with the BUILDBASE Hawk Racing Suzuki, and he will be joined by Luke Stapleford, who comes over from the World Supersport class after a difficult season starting with a Triumph, switching to the Yamaha. It didn't quite work out for Luke, and he's found himself back in the British Championship for 2019, but making his debut in the British Superbike class on the 1000cc bikes. So hopefully it'll be good for Luke and Brad. MCAMS Yamaha have re-signed Taron McKenzie for 2019 after a really strong debut year in 2018 with the R1, and he'll be joined by Australian Jason O'Halloran, who has left Honda to join Taron McKenzie in the MCAMS Yamaha squad. Obviously O'Halloran has been going very well in testing. He topped the latest testing Portimao, whilst Taron McKenzie is quietly going to his business, as he'll be looking for a repeat and a little bit better actually of 2018 and still hunting obviously that first win, whilst O'Halloran will be looking for a title attack. Honda have two brand new riders in their Superbike team for 2019, signing Andy Irwin, who obviously come over from World Supersport in 2018 to replace Shaky Byrne in the BYD Ducati squad after his really serious crash at the Snetterton test. And Andy, the Irishman, will be joined by Xavi Forés, the ex-World Superbike Barney Racing Ducati rider, who will be making his British Superbike debut at Silverstone in a month's time on board that Fireblade. Both Andy Irwin and Xavi Forés have been going very fast in testing, and hopefully for them, they'll be able to launch an attack. After joining the RAPIDO Ducati squad in 2018, partway through the season, Tommy Bridewell remains with the Oxford Racing Ducati team and Steve Wolfmore. Tommy Bridewell will be hoping that him and the V4R will be back to where he left off on the podium. Tech Yamaha have signed in ex-Honda rider Dan Linfoot to replace the outgoing James Ellison, and he will be alongside Sean Winfield, who remains in that team for another season in 2019. And Dan Linfoot and Sean Winfield have both had good impressions of their R1 in their test at Jerez a few weeks ago. After a very up and down winter, we've finally got a rider lineup for the OMG Suzuki team, with Gino Ria signing for the team but then leaving a couple of weeks after his contract. They've signed Luke Mossey and Josh Elliott, who obviously Josh has had great previous success with the OMG team in both Super Stock and also Superbike, and Luke Mossey will be joining the team in 2019. Danny Buchan is another rider who stays where he is for 2019, remaining with the FS3 Kawasaki Racing squad, and he will be looking to try and make amends to what happened in 2018 after a great start and a great middle part to the season. Danny Buchan will be looking to get himself back on the podium consistently and to make himself a showdown contender in 2019. Lee Hardy's racing team, obviously with the departure of Jake Dixon to Moto2, has had to sign a brand new rider, and they've picked the reigning Superstock 600 champion Ryan Vickers, who, for saying he's had no real experience on the big 1000cc bike, he's been getting to grips very nicely with his ZX-10R over the last couple of days in Monteblanco and Portimao, and him and the Lee Hardy racing team will be looking and aiming for top 10s, and anything else that comes from that is a bonus. Smith's BMW have been able to re-sign the fastest man around the Isle of Man, Peter Hickman, and he will be joined by James Ellison, who obviously rode for Tag Yamaha in 2018, but will be making his step over to the BMW in the British Superbike class in 2019 after saying that he was leaving and retiring to live out in America. Sticking with BMW, but now the Tyco BMW team. Michael Laverty has officially retired from the British Superbike Championship. He's now working with BT Sport, and they have signed Keith Farmer, the reigning Superstock 1000 champion, to partner current Tyco BMW rider Christian Idden for the 2019 season. After making a positive impact partway through the 2018 season in the Superstock 1000 Championship, Claudio Corti has been promoted up into the WD-40's British Superbike team on board the Kawasaki, and he'll be aiming to get to grips with that new Superbike and try and get himself inside the points and top 10s as regularly as he can in 2019. 2019 also sees a lot of new teams enter the grid for the British Superbike Championship, and one of them is EHA Racing, which is run in partnership with CF Motorsport, who's had great success in the past in the lower categories, and David Allingham will be their rider as they get to grips with their R1 ready for their debut season. PR Lloyd & Jones returns with Joe Francis on the bike in 2018. Joe Francis had a short stint at the end of 2018 on that PR Racing BMW, but he will be back for a full season in 2019. Another new team for 2019 is Raceway's Yamaha, running as a B team, if you like, to the MCAMS Yamaha squad. And riding that bike will be Matt Trulov, who steps up from the Superstock 1000 Championship onto this Raceway's Yamaha in British Superbikes, as he will be aiming just to get to grips with the R1 and have fun in the British Superbike class in 2019. EDH Racing joins the British Superbike grid in 2019 with Dean Hipwell on board the bike for 2019, and has been getting to grips with the bike slowly as he prepares for the debut round in Silverstone in a couple of weeks' time. So hopefully Dean will have a good season and he'll make progress throughout the year. Gearlink Kawasaki returns for another season in the British Superbike Championship with Fraser Rogers riding the Team Green Kawasaki bike, the Gearlink Kawasaki, for 2019. He obviously rode that bike in 2018 for part of the year and did quite well on it, but he'll be back in 2019. A brand new Ducati team which will be running the V4R in 2019 is BRIXX Ducati, and that will be run by Frenchman Sylvain Barrier, who had a season with the Smith's BMW team in 2018. Didn't quite get on with it as well as he hoped he would have, but he'll be back in 2019 on board the BRIXX Ducati bike for another attack at the British Superbike Championship. Isle of Man TT rider Dean Harrison will also compete in the 2019 British Superbike Championship, as he will be trying to dial in his bike ready for the TT and also have a bit of short circuit racing fun at the same time. But obviously I think the TT will be the main aim for Dean Harrison, and he'll use the British Superbike rounds, as a lot of TT riders do, to get to run the bike in, to dial in the bike, and to really just work out how that bike is working. But Dean will be on the grid in 2019 on the Silicone Engineering Kawasaki. The final rider on the grid for 2019 is Sam Coventry, who is running under Aaron Zanotti's wing for 2019, who retired from racing at the end of last year. He'll be riding the Team 64 bike in 2019, who obviously Sam, as you can see on screen, he had a stint with the PR Lloyd & Jones BMW in 2018, and he'll be back in the Superbike class for 2019 on board Aaron Zanotti's Team 64.